Good morning. So, Swadyaya. Today we're talking about Swadyaya, which is self-study. Swadyaya is different than studying books. Right? A lot of times we might study a book and we learn information. What's the capital of Utah? What's the population? What's the major export? This is a different kind of intellectual information, is a different kind of knowledge than we're talking about with Swadyaya. So Swadyaya is experiential knowledge. It's the practice of gaining experience. And as we gain experience, it expands our awareness. And so there's the intellectual paradigm, the conceptual paradigm. You could see it represented as a circle. And then there's our experience. And the experience underlies the circle. Right? And when our experience grows beyond the limitations of the circle, the intellectual paradigm has to change. And so the form of what our thoughts, what our beliefs take changes. Swadyaya is the practice of accruing this experiential knowledge. So what is experiential knowledge, or jnana, or gnosis, or knowledge, right? But in the sense of experiential, we're talking about like the knowledge you have of the taste of an apple. I could try to describe an apple, but you already know what an apple tastes like. You can taste it right now. Probably, maybe your mouth starts to water if you're hungry. Right? When you think of the taste, the sweetness, the sourness, I mean, it's beyond words, really. It's an experience, but you know the taste of an apple. Right? So this is knowledge. This is experiential knowledge. This is gnosis. This is jnana. This is the goal of self-study. And so self-study is the ruthless awareness of how we express mentally, physically, emotionally throughout the day. And again, it's not with any judgment or any shame, but simply being aware. And so in some situation, we interact with other people. How was my energy affecting them? Right? Where was my awareness? Where was my consciousness? What was I doing? And so it's the cultivation of chit, or consciousness, this conscious integrity. And so instead of our attention, our energy going out into the world and getting lost through the senses, we're directing that energy as conscious awareness, as lucidity. And so the same way that you might have a lucid dream, that's chit. Right? This is the same thing as we're cultivating in our daily life. Right? It's the practice of having a lucid life. So, Swadyaya. Swadyaya is often practiced by reading sacred texts, reading truth books, reading scriptures, gospels, etc. And so, again, sometimes this gets confused. We think, oh, if I can just memorize what was said in this book, then I'll have that knowledge. That's different. And so when we read a book like the Yoga Sutras, or when we read a book like the Bhagavad Gita or Vasishtha Yoga, right, or we read the Bible or the Quran, instead of believing what it is we're reading, take each line, right, each statement, each assertion, and meditate upon it, and take a look and say, okay, so they're saying this. They're saying that, for instance, in the Yoga Sutras, that craving, or ragas, is that which follows pleasure. Is that true in my experience, that there's a craving which follows a pleasurable experience? And if it is true, then what we're actually turning our attention to is the experience that those words were pointing to. And so this is the way to utilize scripture. It's not to memorize it, but to actually meditate upon and consider and look inward to ponder, is this part of my experiential awareness? Is this something that I know experientially? And so in that sense, we can look at a text one day, and then years later go back and read a text and understand so much more, even without studying the text, simply based on the experiences that we may have had in our practice or our meditation. Right? And so this is Swadyaya, the cultivation of this experiential knowledge to move beyond the limitations of our paradigm of belief. So, no, it's just a taste. There's a lot more with Swadyaya, but that's good for now. If you have any questions, feel free, email me. Namaste.